Hello, and welcome back to How to College First Gen. My name is Shiv, and I'm so excited to be joining this amazing podcast as one of the new co hosts. Just like many of you, I was a first gen college student not too long ago, so I'll be there with you on this journey to learn from other first gen students and professionals that are achieving their full potential. What could be more exciting? But before we jump into those wonderful stories from our future guests, please allow me the opportunity to introduce myself and share my journey of self discovery as both a first gen immigrant and a first gen college graduate. I'll share my roots, my personal identity, and my collegiate and professional pursuits. Starting with my roots, my parents grew up in a small rural village in western India in a family of farmers. Although my mother was fortunate enough to complete her high school, my father had to drop out to help his family. In the early 90s, they made the very difficult decision to leave their friends and family back home and immigrate to a foreign land all the way to the US with little money and big dreams. From working 80 hours a week to managing a small motel to ultimately owning their own motel and small business, I believe my parents exemplify the American dream. And ever since I can remember, I recall living in and working in my family's motel and small businesses, from Arizona to Kansas to Texas. My weekends always consisted of cleaning hotel rooms, helping them with minor maintenance, or translating documents for my dad. Life wasn't easy, and I saw my parents work tirelessly to afford me the opportunity they never had, the opportunity to pursue my goals, which instilled, I think, a deep rooted value of persistence and perseverance that I try to live with today. And because I grew up living my own experience, I never truly realized how different this childhood was from my peers. My first memory of me questioning this personal identity was in elementary school on the school bus. On the first day, the bus was picking me up from outside the motel, and I ran across the parking lot. I was running because I was a little late, which is a habit I'm still working on. But I hopped on, and then I realized I was surrounded by bewildered kindergarten faces, all glued to the window. Whoa, they asked. Why are we at a motel? Wait, do you live here? Then from that moment on, I slowly started to realize how different I was from my peers. I was the only South Asian in my class. I would speak English at school and then a different language at home. And I didn't celebrate Thanksgiving or Christmas, but rather Diwali and Holi, holidays unfamiliar to my friends. And each of these differences compounded, and I slowly started to question my identity. Am I an American? Am I an Indian? Am I both? Or really, am I neither? I'm sure many of you listening have undergone your own journey of reflecting on your cultural and personal identity, and whether you're a first gen immigrant like me or you're immersed in a foreign environment, it's a very difficult challenge to reflect on. These experiences as a first gen immigrant really came to the forefront for me during my college application senior year. Being the first person in my family to go to college, I didn't have any direction. Now, don't get me wrong, I was extremely privileged to have the familial support and encouragement to pursue higher education, and while they gave me plenty of support, I found myself navigating that college application process by myself. My parents didn't know what the SAT was, they didn't know where universities were ranked. I didn't have any family or friends at these different universities or even across majors. And most importantly, I had limited financial resources, so I had to stay close to home to help my family. That's when I decided to attend the University of Houston, where I was able to alleviate the financial burden on my family through scholarships, working 20 hours a week, and still being close enough to help at home. But most importantly, I was at U of H. I had this amazing new journey ahead of me that was all about self discovery, an opportunity my parents never had. So I tried to make the most of it. I explored what clubs I enjoyed, what majors seemed interesting, and what types of challenges I liked to tackle. I was initially intrigued by the economics department, considering the macro factors driving everything from how you and I behave to what shapes the global economy. But I also felt a strong affinity to tackling technical problems, so I decided to also pursue a chemical engineering degree. Given that I was in Texas, I naturally found my home in the energy sector, and I was fortunate to land a role at ExxonMobil, where I wanted to help provide reliable energy at the world's biggest energy company. I moved to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and had the opportunity to work with some of the smartest engineers I've ever met. And outside of work, I was grateful to truly learn what life outside of a small business looks like. It was the first time I lived away from a motel. I learned what a 401k was, what a Roth IRA is. I learned what being a working professional was all about. And the journey of self discovery didn't stop there. As I reflected, I realized I wanted to make a more meaningful impact in my work, so I left my job to reflect and travel with my now fiance. We backpacked Southeast Asia and Japan for 6 months, and I learned more about the world and different cultures. And we used that time to reflect on what our passions truly were. So when I returned to the States, I joined the public sector at the Department of Energy, supporting innovation in the nuclear world. I've had the privilege to work with some of the leading nuclear physicists and scientists in the world on cutting edge problems, all while exploring my new home in Washington, D.C. Throughout my entire journey, my first gen experience has always been at the forefront. These journeys of overcoming obstacles, understanding identity, and pursuing self discovery never stop. So I'm grateful to have this platform today to connect with you and learn from other first gen professionals by sharing their narratives and experiences. Thank you for including me in your journey. See you next time.